Now, if your ability to understand a system is directly related to your ability to measure it, and without measuring it, you're largely blind as to what's actually going on and if you're doing what you're supposed to.
Right.
There's another caveat or ramification of that. Okay. Your measurements, how useful your measurements are, depend on how good the data going into those measurements is. And this is a concept called garbage in, garbage out,
Right.
which actually comes from programming.
Okay.
So think of, let's say you have a database, and that database is supposed to house your customers who are giving you permission to follow up.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What would happen if some malicious programmer, spam bot, finds that little form where people fill in their information and they start filling it with all sorts of random stuff?
Right, your measurement, it means nothing.
Right, exactly. So you could say, if you look at just the amount of queries that are going into the database, you can say, we got 16,000 qualified prospects yesterday.
Right.
Until you actually look at the data and you say, who's XYZWAY at abcdef.com?
Right.
Doesn't help you, okay? So, and this has to do with pretty much any measurement that you'll make.
Okay.
The quality of the insights or the actions that you can get from your measurements depends in large part on the quality of the measurements to begin with.
Makes sense.
And if your measurements are crappy, your results or your insights are going to be crappy too. You're not going to be able to do much with it.
Sure. So if it's not a spammer, I don't really see how you could get the wrong information, actually.
Well, sometimes, and this has to do with how you go about collecting the information that you go about collecting.
Okay.
Sometimes if you're, sometimes measurement is automated and sometimes it's not.
I see.
Okay, so if there are humans involved, there can be human error. If there's data entry involved, there can be data entry error. If it's automated, but the process that's being used is not accurate or changes or varies or whatever.
So it's more about the processes again.
Yes.
Okay.
So, think of like if you go to the doctor and they draw blood and they're doing a bunch of tests.
Yeah.
Okay. The results of those tests are really important. But if the lab messes up, let's say the blood is, sitting in the open air for a while and bacteria starts growing in it.
Right.
Like,
I get it. Okay, so again, systems.
yes,
be careful.
systems, processes. Make sure that if you're relying on your measurements, you need to be able to rely on the data that you're collecting too.
Okay.
And your measurements are only as good as the quality of the data that you collect.